Good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian.
And I'm Alice.
And as always, this is BDSM Gen Y. This week we have an interesting topic. We're discussing polyamory and structure. And we should probably preface this with, this is our opinion. Once again, nobody else's. Our opinion is possibly likely to piss some people off. We're sorry. It's just our opinion, okay? Alright, now that we put on the flame retardant suit, let's discuss...
And fed the trolls.
And fed the trolls. Let's discuss, what we're actually talking about. You want to start us off with the definition?
Sure, absolutely. Polyamory breaks down into two words, and though I am a literary geek, I'm not going to go into, what words and from what languages and why. Skip that. Just basically it breaks down into poly and amory. Poly means many, amory means loves. Put them together, you've got many loves.
Yep.
Polyamory is typically referred to as multiple relationships. This is different from swinging, in that swinging is multiple sexual partners, but not necessarily relationships. Poly can be multiple relationships, but maybe you're not fucking them all. And it's obviously different than cheating in that all partners know about each other's existence and are okay with it.
Yep. Now, for the other half of the discussion, structure.
I get a lot of, and what I've heard a lot of, is, well, if you're really poly and you love all of your partners equally the way you should, then your relationships will blossom and develop, and they will happen of their own accord on their own time and, at their own pace. And if you try to fence them in, or you try to put limits and strictures on what your other partners can be for you, well, then you're just kind of a dick. And not being fair to them and not being fair to yourself and blah, 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 blah.
Yep. We don't subscribe to it. BDSM in general, or at the very least DS and MS relationships, and many of the relationships involved, are about structure. They're about knowing and understanding where you are and where you sit within the universe, and more particularly where you sit within your relationships. So people who are into BDSM, naturally, and people who are into poly may want to combine the two.
So basically, what we're trying to say is, if you crave structure in your life, do not fear. Poly may still be for you.
The primary point is, of the vast majority of the opinion out there, it seems, on poly, is that if you do it with structures and strictures of any kind, that you're doing it wrong, and you're not being fair to the people you're with, and you're not being fair to yourself.
Now, the argument for that tends to be, well, you're just jealous, or, well, you're just scared. And if you let go of the jealousy, and you let go of being scared that your partner's going to leave you for partner Y, then you'll be okay, and everything will be better. And either you'll leave the relationship because it's not giving you what you need, or everyone will love each other or get along, and it will be great. Maybe that happens for some people, and maybe for a lot of people, building rules about you can fuck X but not Y, or you can, live with Z but not Q, maybe that is about fear.
And if you are involved in a poly relationship and you're trying to put structure and stricture, if you're afraid and jealous and that's why you're trying to put structure and stricture on it, I absolutely agree with the prevailing poly argument of that's not a good reason to do it.
No.
But if you're trying to do it because you enjoy more structure in your life, then there's nothing wrong with it. Now, we're not going to discuss our own personal examples here, other than, what we've decided internally for our current relationship. But in our experience, structure leads to more sustainability. Just for us, possibly for anyone else. But for us, it does lead to more sustainability. Those with structure tend to last longer.
You know where you stand, you know where they stand, and if something changes and the structure starts breaking down, well, that's when you sit and you have the big family powwow, and you all talk to each other. Hello, Alia.
Hello, Alia, come on.
You tell each other, okay, this isn't working for me, and here's why. And that's when you have those big, sometimes relationship-altering discussions, is when it doesn't work anymore. On
a side note, our cat is also kinky. She has a scat fetish. She
just
went to the cat litter and she curls up in our lap. Anyways.
Yeah.
So in our relationship,
yes,
something, that we've discussed from the get-go is, A, we're a fairly new relationship. We're not even branching out into poly at all until the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's a personal, decision between the two of us, and nothing's going to change it.
No.
Now, both of us, I consider myself, poly, so does Alice here. We also ran across something online that made a lot of sense, too. It's not that we're poly, we're poly for the people involved. which especially makes sense for us. It takes a special kind of individual
to pique our interest.
To pique our interest. So we don't really expect to find a whole lot of them. But I mean, something that we discussed is we don't want anyone else moving into the house with us.
We've tried it. It doesn't tend to work. Everyone needs their space, and just
we don't want to do it.
No.
If we ever do it again, it'll be because we've known them for years. We've both been in a relationship with them for years, and we're both clamoring for them to move in. Before that, absolutely not.
No. Now, although that does paint us as somewhat unicorn hunters, which sort of leads us into our next topic. Although, sidebar, if you want to know more about our particular experiences with poly, because we can't talk about them here, since that would be naming names or giving details, email us. We're happy to talk about what we've been through and what kinds of poly. I mean, hell, I've been in at least 3 different poly relationships now, and you've been in at least 2.
2. Yep.
So,
2.
Yeah. We've done it.
We definitely will discuss it. So we were discussing the unicorn.
The unicorn hunters. Now, what the hell is that? Well, a unicorn is also referred to as a hot bi babe. In other words, an attractive, bisexual woman. Yeah, but I'm more hetero-flexible than I am bi, really,
You're close enough.
I'm close enough. All right, fine. For the purposes of the discussion, someone like me, who enjoys the company of both men and women and is interested in dating both men and women, at least to an extent, and is willing to date, more importantly, established heterosexual male and female couples, usually married couples, who are looking for, oh God help us, something to spice up their bedroom life, or, yeah, I dated some unicorn hunters once, and it was interesting.
Just be careful if you're a unicorn hunter. They do exist.
The unicorns exist?
I have a unicorn sitting right beside me. They do exist. They're very rare.
So if you're in an established couple and you're looking for a third who will love both of you and fuck both of you and only you, and there's a one penis policy involved where you're the only penis and all of these other crazy things, keep in mind that you've got to have a lot to offer the unicorn in question, or she probably won't be that interested. I mean, the unicorn hunters that I dated for a while were fascinating people of their own right. They were kinky and geeky and hilarious and really intelligent. They had a lot of things going for them that I liked. Had they just come up to me saying, we're a couple and we want to date you,
it probably wouldn't have worked out.
Hierarchy. Even in a hierarchy,
you should have a voice.
Yes. So even if you're the secondary, even if you're the coffee date once a month, even if you're the once a year date, you should always have a voice. If you're in a relationship where your voice isn't being heard,
you have a problem.
You've got a problem.
We're in an MS relationship, and I still listen to her opinion. Now, granted, the decision still ends up staying with me. Kitty, you can't stand up. You either lay down or you go away. I still listen to her opinion because, well, she's my slave. I should be listening to her opinion. Her, her priorities should be me, then her, and then the rest of the world.
And
so
his priorities should be
you, and then myself and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, more she's an intelligent lady. I should listen to her. Now, just because the final decision stays with me doesn't mean I'm still not going to listen to her.
That's right.
So if you're getting involved in the relationship in a tertiary or secondary or primary or something with no structure at all, make sure you're being listened to.
It doesn't mean that you have the final say, especially if you're not the primary relationship, but you should certainly always feel like you're allowed to say what's on your mind, no matter who you're with.
A note on next week's episode, we have 2 ideas. A, we would really like for everyone to email us their questions. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you have questions, email them to us. We want to do a Q&A episode where we answer just your questions. Mm-hmm. If we don't get enough questions before next episode, then we're going to discuss a really hairy topic, outing yourself to your family and our personal experiences with it. One that she's going through and one that I've been through.
Moment and one that you just went through.
So please email us our questions if you have any more questions about poly. There's a lot of really good resources that Alice here has found. They'll be linked in the underbar. So,
down there.
Once again, my name is Lillian.
I'm Alice.
And this has been BDSM Gen Y, and we will see you next week.